Hi everyone, in this video we're gonna show you the CAN monitor display for the W1000. This is the display itself with all the switches and buttons. We're gonna tell you what the function of each one. Right now I'm gonna start the display just pressing the emergency switch up. The machine is already connected to a 12 volts power supply. And you can see it starting up. It shows you the program installed, and that's the start screen. So once you start the machine, you're gonna have the status of the machine, the depth for the sample you set, and the number of samples taken so far. That's your start screen as soon as you start the machine. For the commands and buttons, you have the extra rotation button. We're gonna see more about that later. The auxiliary buttons 1, 2, and 3 right now have no function, but they are available if the manufacturer decides to put something extra down the road. We have the up and down keys. They're gonna be used to select the items through the menus. We have the escape button. It works like the escape in a computer. You go back or cancel options in the menu. You have the menu button that works like the enter key on the computer keyboard. You're gonna select menus and you're gonna enter and confirm options that you select. You have the manual button that you're gonna use with the command switches. When you press and hold manual, you can activate the switches to do the command you want. For the switches, you have the probe switch that commands probe up and down. This switch marked box, it's like the auxiliary buttons. They don't have a function right now, but they can be used later. You have the rotation and stop switch, so you can control the rotation of the probe or stop the operation. Then you have the start and home switch, so you can start the sampling cycle and you can send the probe home. Okay, so that's the basic commands on the display. Let's talk about the menus. So once you are on the start screen and you press the menu button once, you have the option to the setup menu. If you press down, you have the option for the test menu. Pressing down again, back to the setup menu. I want to reach the setup menu, so I'm going to press the menu button or enter. And then I have the options inside the setup menu. I have sticks per sample. It comes set at 99. That means the machine is gonna keep sampling indefinitely. If I set a number here, I'm gonna press menu, hold until the numbers start blinking, and then I can put a number that I desire. The machine is gonna sample until 90 sticks were taken, and then it will stop. So you have to reset the counter and start again. If you keep in 99, like mentioned before, confirm with enter or menu, the machine is gonna taking samples until the number is reset. The next item on the setup menu is depth. You can set how deep the probe is gonna sample. Right now the max limit is 30 centimeters. So we're gonna set right now just for testing purposes to 25. Once I have the amount of one, confirm with menu, it stopped blinking, the amount is set. Next item in the setup menu is rotation stop height. Rotation stop height means what height the probe is gonna stop the rotation so the sample drops in the soil box. Okay? That's gonna change according to your hydraulic settings or your soil type, so you can adjust it to your needs. The next item is offset. We're gonna know more about this later. Probe up delay, if you wanted the probe to stay in the ground for that many seconds. Sticks per sample is the first item, as mentioned before. So that covers the setup menu. If you're done on the setup menu, you press escape, escape again, back to the startup screen. You can see the settings for the depth and sampling that you set here. So going to the task menu, you press menu, press menu, you select the down key task menu, you confirm with enter or menu, and then you have the options on the task menu. The first screen of the task menu is going to tell you the power supply, what the machine is receiving right now, and the height the drilling head is. So right now it's in 0 centimeters, it's in home position. If I move the drilling head of the manual command, it's going to tell you the distance it moved here. Next item, you can monitor the keys, the switches, the LEDs on the machine when they're activated. This is the digital input checking. It value here is the sensor in the machine. So as you start the cycle, you see going from 0 to 1, 0 being inactive and 1 being active. So you know which sensor is working at the time. I will post in the video description the definitions of each sensor, so you know which one is being activated at a time. This is the analog inputs for each sensor. You know how much voltage each sensor is receiving, so you can check if a sensor is non-functional on this screen. Outputs, same thing for the sensors, the values for outputs and voltage, and that's the firmware of the display. So if you need to update, this is going to tell you which version you have. And that's back to the start screen on the task menu. Escape, escape again, and you're back to the start screen machine. So that's pretty much it for the basic controls, the menus, and the options you have. So now we're going to set the offset for the machine. What's the offset is? It's the distance between the ground and the machine, so it can calculate the proper depth when it's sampling. To do so, you're going to sit in the driver seat. Manually, you're going to hold manual and bring the probe down until the probe touches the ground. As soon as the probe touches the ground, you go to menu, task menu, menu again, and it's gonna tell here the distance the drilling head is from touching the ground, the probe touching the ground. You're gonna write down this number, then you're gonna go to setup menu, offset, and you're gonna write down, we're gonna put that information, that the value that you write down from before in here, whatever is the distance. Once that is correct, press menu again, and that offset is done. And now that the offset is correct number, you can start sampling. You go back to the start screen. Once you are in the right position, you can press start. The drilling head goes down with the probe goes inside the ground. It's gonna do one rotation, the probe is gonna go up and gonna drop the soil, the stick on the soil box. If your soil is a little bit sandy and you're having problems to grab enough material, you can select an extra rotation. So now when you start the cycle, the probe is gonna go in the ground and it's gonna do 2 rotations before it goes up and drop the soil in the soil box. To have 1 rotation only, just press again, and you can see if this light is on, you have 2 rotations. If this light is off, you have only 1 rotation. If for any reason you have to stop the cycle, you can press stop switch or any switch. Actually, it's going to stop the cycle on whatever step it is. You can fix what's causing the problem. You can send the drilling head and the probe back home, pressing the home switch. And then once everything's clear, you can start cycling again. After you take your samples, you're gonna have the counter here. That's the start screen. you can cycle the information with the arrow keys. The total of samples, that's like the odometer in your car and it can't be reset. That's the trip number of samples, so how many samples you took on that trip. You can reset that number by pressing reset and holding until the number is 0 again. So you can start sampling again and this number goes up as it goes. And that's the same amount. Right, so that's the basics for the CAN monitor display. If you have any problems, you can always give us a call, go to our website, check the manuals. And I wish everyone a good sampling.